let's jump right into this explainer. We see countless headlines every single day, right? But every so often, a story drops that just completely stops you in your tracks because of its sheer, immediate brutality. Today, we're unpacking a truly staggering case out of Northwest Delhi. We're going to look at the chaotic timeline, the intense initial police work, and the broader, often unseen context behind this kind of violence. So, let's get into it.
We're starting right in the thick of it. Picture this. It's a Tuesday afternoon, exactly 4:20 p.m. A 35-year-old man named Verinder walks straight through the doors of the Shalimar Bagh police station. Now, he isn't there to file some routine complaint. He is literally covered in blood. Right there at the front desk, he confesses to a brutal crime, the murder of his own tenant. It's just a wild, chaotic way for an investigation to kick off. No frantic 911 calls, just a confessed killer surrendering in real time, bringing the horrifying aftermath of a crime right into the sanctuary of a police station.
So naturally, the preliminary inquiry kicked into high gear, and it quickly revealed a deeply personal, incredibly volatile motive. According to a senior police officer, the victim was 29-year-old Kanhaiya. He was actually living as a tenant in Virender's juggi, which for context is a term for a dwelling in an informal settlement or slum in India. And the investigation immediately surfaced this brewing suspicion. Virender believed Kanhaiya was having an affair with his wife. It's that singular, all-consuming suspicion simmering away in the super close quarters of a shared living space that police think finally ignited this fatal attack.
Section 1. The scene of the crime. Okay, looking at the timeline of that Tuesday afternoon, the sequence of events is just dizzying. From the fatal attack, the exact time of which is still unrecorded, straight to that 4:20 p.m. confession, law enforcement had to move lightning fast. They basically grabbed the suspect and escorted him directly back to his residence in Indira Colony. That immediate pivot from taking a confession to trying to lock down a crime scene shows you just how rapidly this whole thing escalated. There's no manhunt here, right? Officers are dealing with a guy who literally walked a murder case right up to their front desk, which triggered this massive immediate scramble to secure the area before any evidence could be lost or compromised.
And when police finally entered that juggi in Indira Colony, they were met with a grim reality that instantly validated Virender's shocking confession. Kanhaiya, the 29-year-old victim, was found lying on a bed. His throat had been slit and he had multiple stab wounds. This was an absolutely brutal scene of close-quarters violence, and honestly, it perfectly matched the blood-stained condition Virender was in when he showed up at the station. The sheer brutality in such a tiny, confined space paints a truly harrowing picture of those final moments.
But here's where it gets absolutely crucial from an investigative standpoint. The physical evidence mounted almost instantly. Authorities actually recovered the alleged murder weapon right there at the spot where the body was found. Now, you combine that weapon with the blood-soaked clothes the accused was literally still wearing upon his arrest, and boom, investigators suddenly have two massive pieces of physical evidence tying the suspect directly to the attack within hours of it happening. Getting that kind of immediate, tangible corroboration is super rare, and it lays down a rock-solid foundation for the legal proceedings that are about to follow.
Section 2. The investigation and legal framework.
And the authorities? They left absolutely nothing to chance. They executed a strict, meticulous procedural checklist. First up, they pulled CCTV footage from the surrounding area to independently verify Virender was actually at the scene when it happened. But they obviously didn't stop there. They brought in the Specialized Crime Team and FSL, the Forensic Science Laboratory experts, to comb through and collect evidence. And this is key. An executive magistrate actually oversaw the scene. Having a magistrate there is a deliberate move to ensure that every single piece of evidence is legally secure, properly documented, and totally unquestionable in court, all before the body is finally moved for a post-mortem examination. It's basically a masterclass in locking down a case to survive intense legal scrutiny.
Just to ground this in the hard procedural facts for a second, the police officially registered the case under Section 103. If you're following along with the legal side of things, that's the specific code for murder within the newly implemented Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or the BNS. That's the framework that recently replaced the old Indian Penal Code. So this modern legal code is what's dictating the ongoing investigation right now, as authorities do the painstaking work of establishing the exact step-by-step sequence of events that led to this tragedy, ensuring the formal charges match the heavy gravity of the physical evidence they collected.
Section 3. The sociological lens.
Now, let's step back and look at the broader picture. The journalist reporting this, Devanshi Mehta, is a crime correspondent whose entire beat is actually focused on exactly these kinds of environments. Her work aims to uncover Delhi's unseen crises. We're talking addiction, systemic violence, and the quiet, everyday suffering of marginalized communities, women, and children. Keeping her background in mind is important because it reminds us that this horrific incident in the Indra colony Jugi, well, it isn't just another clinical entry on a police blotter. It is a stark reflection of systemic issues, deep neglect, and broken justice within forgotten communities. These are places where incredibly dense living conditions, zero resources, and high personal tensions can just boil over into unimaginable violence.
So I want to leave you with this thought. When a 35-year-old man walks into a police station completely covered in blood, we're only seeing the very end result. But what does a sudden act of extreme violence like this actually tell us about the real human cost of neglect in marginalized communities? It really forces us to ask, what other unseen crises are brewing in the background right now, just waiting to culminate in the tragedies that make tomorrow's headlines? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning the deeper context behind the news we consume every single day.